Anyone with a Wi-Fi connection can access world-class university instruction from their bedroom. Yet the majority of people who start these programs never finish them. This chart compares two major models of online education. The blue line represents massive open online courses, which scale infinitely but drop to a near zero completion rate. The yellow line represents cohort-based courses, which enforce strict constraints but hold steady at roughly 90% completion. We can see this in practice by looking at Duke University's early Coursera data. Between 2012 and 2013, 60,000 students enrolled in a single course. Only 2,100 of them actually completed it, a success rate of 3.5%. When researchers surveyed those who dropped out, students did not claim the material was too difficult or too basic. Instead, they cited a lack of time. Without external structure, they simply couldn't fit the coursework into their daily schedules. Frictionless, self-paced access to high-quality content mathematically correlates with high attrition. Content quality alone does not drive retention. A standard asynchronous learning subscription operates like a commercial gym membership. The business model relies on impulse enrollment and assumes a high rate of underutilization. There is no penalty for skipping a workout or a lecture. Compare that to premium cohort-based programs like Alt-MBA or Rite of Passage. These courses charge thousands of dollars per seat and enforce rigid, uncompromising deadlines. Despite the high friction, or rather precisely because of it, these cohort models consistently report yield rates around 90%. The prevailing philosophy in educational technology is that removing friction improves the experience, but removing friction also removes the social pressure required to finish a course. To understand why students stay, we can look at a quantitative study published by researchers Liu, Gomez, and Yen at Old Dominion University. They set out to identify the exact statistical predictors of online course retention. Their central independent variable is a concept called social presence, defined as the degree of a user's perception and reaction to another intellectual entity in a digital environment. This is a rigorously tested construct, measured through the 90-item Social Presence and Privacy Questionnaire. This diagram shows how the questionnaire isolates the 5 data streams that constitute a student's social presence: social context, online communication, interactivity, system privacy, and feeling of privacy. By breaking community down into these 5 measurable subconstructs, educators can manipulate social integration as an architectural variable. The Old Dominion researchers ran a binary logistic regression model to map those social presence scores against actual course retention. This is the resulting equation. The Wald test results proved that social presence is a statistically significant predictor of whether a student stays or quits. This relationship is quantified by the 0.15 coefficient. This curve illustrates what that coefficient means for a real student. The log odds of finishing a course increase by 0.015 for every single unit increase in their social presence score. As the feeling of connection goes up, the probability of dropping out goes down. The inverse is also true. When a platform scales up by eliminating direct social context and interactivity, the student's social presence variable drops towards 0. Asynchronous MOOCs do not randomly suffer from high dropout rates. By eliminating social presence, their architecture ensures high attrition is the default result. Beyond student retention, the researchers examined academic performance by applying an ordinal logistic regression to final grades. The data showed that a higher social presence score is positively correlated with the probability of achieving a higher final grade in the A through C range. Students who are removed from direct instruction and peer interaction lack the safety net required to troubleshoot complex academic problems. When they get stuck alone. Social presence separates students who master the material from those who quietly ghost the platform. We can map this data onto human psychology. Author Seth Godin identifies a phase in learning called the dip, or crisis mode. The initial excitement of starting a new skill fades, and the material becomes difficult. When a self-paced student hits the dip without social accountability, the easiest immediate solution is to defer the work to tomorrow. In online learning, tomorrow just becomes never. But a socially integrated learner has levers to pull. They leverage peer momentum, group discussion, and the fear of letting others down to push through the friction. The failure of self-paced courses is a failure to provide external feedback loops precisely when internal motivation collapses. Look at this systemic flowchart. Cohort-based courses engineer the social presence variables identified in the Old Dominion regression models. Enforcing a fixed start and end date eliminates decision fatigue. Students are forced into a shared pace. Mandatory live sessions and group projects trigger the interactivity and online communication variables necessary to maximize a student's social presence score. The current baseline of educational technology design has to change. Platforms must stop building courses that function as textbooks with a play button. Student retention requires early identification of a student's social readiness, combined with intensive social intervention throughout the curriculum. While high-quality information is a commodity, structured accountability is a premium service. If you want students to learn and complete your curriculum, you must architect an environment where they cannot hide.